Good morning, greetings. This is Body Culinary, aka Kwasapeacefull Eating, sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. So, shout out to all of my early risers. I'm gonna get ready to go do some volunteer work at some family fun, fitness and games, and jump rope and all that good stuff this morning. So, I thought I would stop in because my mind is usually very active and motivated and inspired in the very early morning hours. So this early morning, I was thinking as I was playing in my hair, this is one of my favorite styles, and so I'm very into comfort. I really think that we deserve to feel comfortable in our own hair and skin, especially as we move throughout the different seasons of life. So I'm talking about this little easy breezy hairstyle, and I'd love to know what your thoughts are if you even consider being comfortable, joyous, and even enjoying your own hair and skin. Now, I'm not anti makeup, though the foundation of esteem I have found is based on how you feel. First of all, health, because we're all at our most attractive when we're healthy. And the spontaneous smile, if you ever notice whether or not you have one, when you pass the mirror in your actual own hair and skin. I invite you to consider whether or not you'll be able to maintain and sustain that feeling of deep appreciation. This is not just in words. Do you really appreciate your own hair and skin? And how do you know if it's not just thoughts that you're saying, if that's really the way that you feel about yourself? Could it be the way that we feel about ourselves that it shows up in our consumption patterns, the way we eat? What we allow and don't allow in terms of treatment, or what we allow or don't allow in terms of care or mistreatment or disregard for the body. So, welcome to this channel. If you're new here, I'm Body Culinary, professional chef, personal trainer, and lifestyle coach. On this channel, I share some of my journey. My journey of radical self acceptance, a return to natural for many, many years, though. My hair is now locked. I don't twist it. I don't do oils, butters. I did all of those things. And I continually on my path of over 30 something years, I really embrace ease and comfort and freedom. I really think we deserve to feel comfortable in our own hair and skin and to explore the possibilities, especially as a woman of Afro descent, thus the Afro. Many of us have not gone down the rabbit hole to see what our hair and skin can do, especially if it's very fine, very coarse, kinky. If you grew up with the experience of being told that your hair is very difficult, hard to manage, you may be afraid of hair loss, thinning edges, alopecia. A lot of that fear has us continue doing things that sometimes we may not realize, or maybe we're in denial that we could actually be compromising keeping our hair on our head, or keeping and holding on to our eyebrows and eyelashes. And out of desperation, we can wind up really permanently damaging or losing what it is that we have. So if this doesn't apply to you, please let it fly. This is only one woman's perspective. You're always welcome to respectfully share your feedback. But I'm just sharing one woman's perspective. So I'm someone that has very, now that it's grown, I can see even more now the natural color of it. Being I don't put any oils into it, I can see how my edges behave. I feel fortunate to still have some edges left on my hair because I could see over the years that tight styles, I cannot wear tight styles. They hurt. They're very, very uncomfortable. That didn't stop me from slicking it with a big, gigantic tub of brown gel back in the days when I used to do my double strand twists. So I just continually embrace more and more ease and comfort and freedom and prioritize play. Prioritize rolling on the floor, playing with my bunnies, being in the garden, having an active movement practice. On this channel, I share three little leverage lifestyle practices. And I call them leverage because they give you back so much more for the investment of your time and your attention. Your time is a non-renewable resource. You're not going to get it back. So if we waste time, for my young flowers and folks out there, if we make certain types of ill-informed or poor decisions, then it will just tell you from experience, not from Googling information, it will dramatically, likely alter the trajectory of our lives. Decisions made with poor information or asking peers or random people on the internet who you have not vetted. It will alter your finances, your likely compromise your emotional and mental health, all from decisions. So I think this is a wonderful option. It's the original option, to be quite honest. Again, I can appreciate somebody that has a pixie. We have the right to do with our bodies as we like. Though, why get towards the end or the second half of our life and be struggling in desperation to hold on to things that in anxiety we've tried to manipulate to look like something that we could never look like, to accomplish something we could never accomplish. And a lot of it's coming from looking, especially now today, it used to be just fashion magazines, but looking at social media. It's there's subtle instructions and suggestions to our subconscious. And that's no joke. I don't underestimate it. I've said to clients, and I've said for many, many years, I study junkies. I study junkies, yes. And I used to be a junk food addict. And you can learn so much from nature's original church, which is the garden. No pimping, nobody trying to get in your drawers or trying to get into your psyche there. And then also watching junkies. People would like to think perhaps that junkies don't have discipline. Well, they have tremendous discipline and tremendous focus. And usually, if we can perhaps press pause on our judgment in the context of condemnation, there's a lot to learn because that element of junkiedom or addiction, it comes from someplace. Usually, it's being triggered by one of the 6 basic fears, which I've mentioned before on this channel. Let's see if we can get them all. Fear of poverty, fear of illness, fear of old age, fear of death, fear of loss of love or never finding love, and fear of criticism. So usually that levels the playing field for all adults. And we may not realize that a lot of our, oh, Mooney, your skin is glowing. That's called no products, cucumbers, a dab instead of highlighter. I do jojoba right here. And then also the same no polish gel that I've been making that I pull from the cactus in my yard for my hair, which I'm loving it actually more than the aloe. Shout out to my aloes also in the garden. But that's what I'm using. I take it internally, and that's also what I'm using on my skin. So let me know if you all are interested in workshops. Again, I'm not here to tell grown folks what to do, that but though perhaps somebody can maybe take a few feathers out of my cap when it comes to someone that has had a lot of acne for years, that was eating healthy and juicy, and it's like, "Ugh, where's all the cystic acne coming from?" And I could tell you just very quickly, the only thing that changed it wasn't all the proactive and benzoyl peroxide, salicylic acid, all that stuff from the health food store and from the drugstore, the pharmacy. It was my lifestyle, it's my consumption patterns, right? So whole, fresh living, unprocessed foods, 100% is what worked for me, and a daily sweaty movement practice. They are my therapeutic movement practices or my therapeutic lifestyle practices. So those three lifestyle practices are peaceful consumption, garden therapy, and a daily personal movement practice. The peaceful consumption is foods that demonstrate that they love you back, right? And also, I love to take a lot off the table to have a lot of freedom to play, right? That's a big part. That's therapy, to be able to be playful and confident, right? So, hair is off the table. I'm not twisting. That's a lot of time. I used to enjoy it when I did double strand twisting. Can you imagine if you didn't have to buy any products? Can you imagine if you didn't have to do any twisting? Do you know how much mental energy you have freed up? It's a lot. It's off the table. And if it was hanging on by a shoestring, as I've said before, I feel very confident I would cut it off. I would cut it off. It was a baldy, if it was a peach fuzz, if I had like dramatic alopecia, if I had damaged it so much, I have had two hot tight braids. I've had my ear singed from the hot comb. Um, it just almost pulled out. I had blisters here, and I've had scalp burns from perms. So I don't need to do that anymore. I'm crystal clear. When I'm crystal clear about something, there's no need to revisit it. So I'm not doing any of that. And I feel so free. It frees up so much time for the garden and for a daily movement practice, a sweaty, vigorous, joyous movement practice. If you've been on this channel for any length of time, you'll know that I'm unapologetic about not lying to myself, though really reframing my narrative. These are things that are critical to mental, emotional stability and a foundation of esteem that nothing and nobody can take away from you, even as you age, even as your crown becomes white, even perhaps should it become a little thinner. My hair is very, very fine. All of my locks are flat. I'm not putting, I have no intention of putting dyes or doing a whole lot. It's really something to sit in the process of radical self acceptance. And even with the best care, I live a lifestyle. I love whole, fresh living, unprocessed foods. That is the lifestyle I embrace. I've done everything you can think of, being in the health and fitness industry for many decades. Though I always wanted something or a lifestyle that would be very easy to manage and sustainable on any budget. As I've done a lot of traveling to different countries, I always knew I did not want to diet. So I feel very fortunate. I feel so fortunate to be able to say that I don't eat any junk food and I don't have it in my house. None. That's wild to me because I was really, really addicted. And I can also make the distinction that a lot of that was coming from a pattern of self-soothing and self-comforting. So it's something that I really delve into in coaching, which is every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Whole living foods and fitness is very educational, hands-on, and focused on why you have the results that you have, cutting the guesswork, and really supporting you in creating a lifestyle that is sustainable, whatever your budget, wherever your living situation, single, married, that you have a foundation of health insurance, which is what you eat, your movement practice, and some type of garden therapy. So if you're interested, reach out to me on body-culinary.com. Here's my simple hairstyle of the day. I didn't want any pulling. When I put the no polish gel, sometimes I'll pull it here. A lot of times it will get tangled. So if I was letting it grow out, there will be tangles and knots all over because that's just the character of my hair. That's what it likes to do. So I didn't intend for my hair to lock. It was locking on its own when I was traveling out in a very bush tropical area for a while. And no products. I had no products. I had lucky if I had some lime to rub on my skin. My skin was extremely like soft, velvety. Not one product, not one. And I was bathing in natural creek water that was not chlorinated. So many of us have never experienced that long term. When we're looking at lots of YouTube channels, people, there's nothing wrong with it, have tried things on for a couple of weeks or months, but it's different than when you've done something for years. And if your lifestyle is very simple, then you can track and trace what things are irritating your skin or contributing to acne. You'll also really start to get clear, which is one of the reasons why I recommend the garden. As you move in the garden, you become much more keen to the patterns of life and to the patterns of, do I need more water? Do I need less water? Is the soil deficient? The same principles, the same principles show up in taking care of our bodies. So can you imagine what would life look like if you didn't use products for like a whole year? Some people might be horrified. Some people might think that that's dirty, which is interesting. We don't think that a lot of the recreational eating that we're doing with things that are really toxic to the liver, with foods that are highly processed, highly salted, very old, outdated, devitalized foods, we don't consider them dirty. But it's interesting, we spend lots of money, untold amounts of money on creams to moisturize, yet all of the foods that we're eating are drying. Does that make sense? So I like to think of my grandma Lou, who was very, very simple, had a lot of common sense, a different set of eyes, right? I used to wonder, how come she's not angry and everybody else is angry? And I watched her eat her own food, which is a principle she passed down to me: eat your own food. And then also, I watched her and her mother, two very dark chocolate women, very comfortable in their own hair and skin. It wasn't anything that they said, just as a small child. I watched these women. I watched her different plaits. One time, as she got a little more mature, older in her 90s, she started to wear a little low fro, but she always wore her own hair. So what really stood out was really also her treatment of me and her demeanor. And she never gave me negative deposits. So she stands out in such contrast to most of the humans that I meet. But looking at her picture now that's in my kitchen, I always saw her rocking her own hair, and her presence and her spirit was so comforting, so at ease, so much order. So because of the way I felt and the way that she affected me, that is something that I strive for, that I strive for, the way I felt. And I watched her whole essence. I watched her whole essence. So she's part of my inspiration, a big part of my inspiration for why I consume the way that I do, and also an affirmation and confirmation of being comfortable in my own hair and skin. It's going to become white. The breasts are firm mangoes, then they're not so firm. I've breastfed, I've given birth to a child at home. So I really cherish those experiences, and I have made a conscientious decision to cherish my own fine, kinky, cottony hair. It's what I've got. This is what I've got. I'm very intentional. You're gonna get some wear and tear. You might get some corn, some stretch marks, whatever. But still, like, are the voices and the instructions that are feeding your feelings, where are they coming from? Are they yours originally? Because before I went to public school, I didn't know anything about the clothes I had on, what if they were cheap or not, which they were, but so what? I didn't know. I remember my mother painstakingly choosing clothes and corduroys for my brothers and I, the same pants but in different colors. So now with mature eyes, I can look at, she was stretching her dollar. I can look at that as love and care. Though through the lens of other people and socialization, you will lose your joy. You will lose your contentment. You'll pick up traits of insecurity, all from signaling and messaging that did not come from you. So I'm very, very intentional. I'm extremely intentional about being protective of my psyche and looking at the back door and the undertone of the messaging and the marketing, which is really a science. It's a bazillion dollar science of making you long for products and longing to be like someone else. So I invite you to consider, what would it look like? And it's no right or wrong. What would happen if you had no products? Could you manage your hair, right? For many Afro women, there's always this talk of we can't manage our hair or it's too difficult. Now I would say a lot of it was just know how. Or if we didn't see those women that went down the rabbit hole. And so now, with the example of no products in the hair, most of us can't imagine what would we do if we didn't use a comb and if we didn't use products. What would that look like? So we have a lot of options. This is an original option, and this option makes space for play, being in the garden, freeing up your economics, more money for travel, and just comfort and ease in our own hair and skin. So this is the quick hairstyle of the day, the quick outfit of the day. I love vintage scarves, a little bit of jeans. And then if we take great care of our bodies and we're eating real food, that's the crux of it. I'd rather have that. That's my priority than wearing makeup. I'm not anti-makeup. At some point I may want to play. I like, mascara from time to time. But I just really like and enjoy the feeling of my own skin breathing and being able to sweat at the drop of a dime. So sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. Feel free to follow Body Culinary for the 5 a.m. workout. Reach out if you'd like to be a part of coaching on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the focus is whole, fresh living, unprocessed foods, unprocessed, and really maximizing the space that you pay rent or mortgage to transform your body just from your own home. And there's lots of modifications and corrective exercises, so it's scalable to any level. I'm about to go do some volunteer work, so that should be pretty exciting with games, jump rope, tag, and all that other stuff. So I'm excited. Create a great day on purpose, and I will see you soon. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, my skin is, I do put food on my face as well as eating it. See you all.